Okay, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So let me show my screen. Okay, one second. Okay, so we're going to get started. We're talking about, again, getting started with your career. So first thing first, congratulations if you've recently gotten licensed. Congratulations for taking the step into real estate. Many of you come from backgrounds, whether it be in sales, whether you worked at Disney or other entrepreneurial backgrounds, where we welcome you to the company into real estate. So now what do? Where do we start? You get into this business and sometimes you feel a little lost. So we're going to go over some of the basics today and make you feel a little bit comfortable and hopefully transition you well into this industry. So I like to start by giving an overview of the real estate industry. So the sky's the limit on what your earning potential can be. If you think back to what made you originally decide to get into real estate, remember that, the sky is the limit. You can earn as much as any of our top producers can, or if maybe you're doing this as a way to add additional income to your family, whatever you want it to be, it's up to you to make that happen. I will say that what you put into this job is what you're going to get from it. So if you're limited on how many hours you can work per week in real estate, then you're not going to see as much of a return as somebody who's maybe putting in 40 or 50 hours a week. So it's really what you put into it. We're going to give you all the tools to help get you successful. It's up to you to use these different tools, take advantage of all the different tips and the best practices you're going to learn from other agents. Use those in your business, and that'll hopefully escalate you to that top producer category. There's going to be ups and downs in this business. I like to be very honest up front. You're going to have your deals that fall through. You're going to have, a listing that maybe doesn't sell. There's always going to be ups and downs, but the easiest thing to do is learn from what happened, learn from your experience, keep moving and always looking for that next opportunity. If you're a people person, this is definitely the career for you. It is all about networking. It's about introducing yourself, getting to know future prospective buyers and sellers or renters. Like I mentioned, we give you all these tools to be successful. Self discipline is key. You're no longer going to be on a 9 to 5 schedule. So if you're coming from maybe a background where you had a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job, you had to be there at a certain time and you clocked out at a certain time. Real estate's a little different. You're going to be the one that's going to be your biggest person to hold yourself accountable. So you need to be accountable to yourself. And that comes down to self discipline. So making sure that you're keeping yourself on track, having a daily schedule set up, having time allotted each day for prospecting. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. This job allows you to have lots of flexibility and control over your own schedule. So if you have family, if you've got kids that you've got to, drop off to school or whatever it may be, we allow you to have this control over your own schedule. That's why many of you got into this business. But don't let that be a reason for you not to work hard. Always make sure that you're putting in your effort and then hopefully see your results out of that. There's plenty of ways to get the information and training. There's always different training classes you can be taking. Never stop learning. Always continue to learn about different aspects of real estate, learn about mortgages, learn about title, learn all these aspects of real estate because it's going to help you be able to have successful closings in the future. And it's going to enhance your knowledge and better help your customers as well. Okay, let's talk about the reality of real estate. And I like to also bring this up because it is important. This is a very prosperous and wonderful career to be in, but it is a difficult one. It's going to be trying. It's going to mean a lot of effort and work, but I guarantee you that, once you start seeing those closings happen, you're going to be very happy you made your choice to get into this career. Unfortunately, though, 70% of the people who you went to real estate class with are normally out of the business after the first year. We're not going to allow you to be part of that statistic. We want you to be part of that 30% that continues to do well. You continue to have closings, get listings. And the reason why many people fail after the first year is they don't have a realistic expectation of real estate, or they fail to have any sort of a business plan or really any sort of a plan in general of how they're going to accomplish their goal. You don't expect an immediate return on your time investment. Like I said, this is going to be something you're going to be putting time in. The idea is you're building your pipeline for the future. So put in the effort. But the idea is you're not going to see an immediate closing unless you've got buyers ready to go right now, which you may. Most of us, when we get started in real estate, it does take a couple months to get started. You've got to grow your business. Remember, you are starting your own business and you have to think like that. So it does take a little bit of time to start to see the return of all the different time you put into this. And that's another reason why you want to budget your money and make sure you've got 3 to 5 months worth of reserves for any, expenses that you have. It might take a little bit to get that first closing. So don't count that money until it's in your bank account. This will be a time investment. And like I mentioned, 2 hours a day of prospecting. What I mean by prospecting is anything you do today that's going to help build your pipeline for the future. You never stop prospecting. This will be something you're going to continue to do, whether you're in the business 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You're always going to be prospecting. The reason why is if I have, let's say, a whole bunch of people coming into town between now and June, I've got myself all lined up with buyers from now till June. But what happens after June? I have nothing in my pipeline. So I've got to continue to meet new people, to get new buyers to show property to get more listing appointments. You've always got to continue to build that pipeline for your future sales. Networking is always going to be the lifeblood of our business. It's all about meeting people and building relationships with people. So make sure you're out there networking, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. Okay, becoming a business owner. So now we're going to talk about wearing your business owner hat because you really do have to consider your real estate career to be your own personal business. You're an independent contractor status, which means that you're not employed by Century 21. Instead, you're an independent contractor or otherwise known as self-employed status. So at the end of the year, you're going to be getting a 1099 from us for the commissions earned, and it's up to you to then make sure you take care of any taxes or government withholding that needs to be deducted out. So that is something you'll have to get used to. A lot of agents file their taxes quarterly just to make sure, or they'll put together, put aside a certain amount of money from each closing to make sure that they have the money to pay those taxes at the end of the year. There's lots of tax deductions that are available to you for being in real estate. So if you've got a good CPA, talk to your CPA about what the different deductions you can get, whether it's your mileage and business expenses, and we'll talk about some of those in just a few minutes. You want to start saving all of your business receipts, and that's really important because things like your board dues, and maybe you had to buy signs or you had to buy a new lockbox. These can all be deducted as an independent contractor. Also, start keeping track of your mileage. If you're driving to 4 or 5 different homes in Davenport to go show property, make sure you're logging your mileage. And at the end of the year, you can give that to your accountant. Or if you're doing it yourself, obviously, keep it. I also suggest a good idea is to become a PA or an LLC. So an agent has the ability to become either a professional association or a limited liability corporation. This is incorporating yourself. So if I was to incorporate myself, my name would be Catherine Acosta PA or Catherine Acosta LLC. You cannot have a fictitious name as your corporation. So it has to be in your name with the PA or the LLC following it. There's a lot of different companies that can set this up for you. I have a couple that I can recommend as well. Or you can do it yourself, but it does involve you setting up a corporation with the state of Florida. It also means setting up a tax ID number, getting changing your license over, and then we're able to then pay you as your corporation. But having a PA or LLC will help you with additional tax benefits and protection. If you have multiple properties, for example, I've heard that being an LLC is more preferable, but you really is something you need to consult with your tax advisor on that. I am obviously not an accountant, but I do advise you to look into it. It's a really great thing for you to be able to do, and it allows you to have more tax benefits at the end of the year and more protection. So, what do you need to run your business? Again, I want you to keep thinking as a business owner and wearing that hat. What are things that are necessary? Well, obviously, things like a laptop, a color printer, a scanner, the essentials that you're going to need to be able to print out MLS, broker synopsises and things like that. Having an electronic key from the Board of Realtors, that's how you're going to get in and out of the electronic lock boxes that listing agents put on their property. Having a good camera or smartphone that takes great photos. This comes in handy if you are out showing a property, or maybe you're doing it or you're previewing a property for a buyer that's not in town yet. It's great to have those photos, take some video, and be able to send it over to them. Have our adequate car insurance. This is important, especially if you're putting any buyers in your vehicle. Not many of us do it nowadays because of safety, but there are going to be occasions where maybe you're picking somebody up from a hotel. They're here on a convention, or they're here, with their family, whatever it is. But make sure you have adequate car insurance. That way you're covered with you and anybody that's in your vehicle. Having a completed agent website with a purchased domain name. So I always like to talk about this as a let me stop sharing my screen for a second. As an agent, it's really important to have a working real estate website, and all of you get a website with us or from us, which is called Zap, and I'm going to show you that right now. Hold on one second. So all of you get a very nice website called Zap, and this is where your AdWorks is connected to. So if you've heard about AdWorks, if you were on our recent training, anybody that goes to your Zap agent website will then be retargeted with ads. So it's a really great website to send your customers to because of that. But all of you will have a nice working website like this. I do a training on it every month called Agent Zap Website Setup. So make sure you're on that. But this is what your website can look like. Your customers will be able to do a search. However, we do advise you to get a vanity email. I'm sorry, not vanity email, vanity domain name. So my vanity domain name is katieacostahomes.com. And if any of my customers go to katieacostahomes.com, it then reverts over to or is transferred over to my Zap website. I advise you to, if you haven't already done so, go to GoDaddy and buy yourself a vanity domain name. Whether it's yourname.com or, katiesellswindermere.com or, whatever it is, find yourself a good .com domain name. Try to stick with a .com. People don't normally remember .nets, and make sure that your domain name is something easy to remember and it's not something difficult to spell. So if your last name, for example, is very difficult to spell and people often, mix up the letters, maybe not put it in your domain name. Maybe just put your first name in your domain name. So but go ahead and buy a domain name. That's what you would then put on your business cards. And once you take my Zap training class to set up your website, I could then send you the instructions on how to transfer your GoDaddy domain name over to your Zap site. I'm going to stop for just a second to see if I have any questions. Hold on. Nope, it looks like we're okay. Feel free that if you do have any questions, type those into the chat box. So I left off here. So let me go to here. So we talked about having a completed website with a purchased domain name, having business cards, a name badge. These are essential. You want to have these sort of easy, inexpensive marketing things to be able to give out your business card, have your name badge. So if you're in Publix, you meet somebody, they know your name, you start a conversation. It's a really great way to find a reason to talk to people. Having a mileage tracker. So there's some really great mileage trackers out there. Gone are the days that we used to track our mileage in our heads and writing it down in a little tiny book. We don't have to do that anymore. We have these great apps on our phones. One is Mile IQ, another one is Hurdler, but there's other great apps out there. These will actually help track your mileage based on your GPS in your phone. So you can you start driving, and by the end of your destination, it has automatically logged that mileage without having to calculate it or look at your mileage or anything like that. So those are really great. And at the end of the year, you could then turn those into your CPA for an easy deduction and get that taken care of. Also having some sort of receipt holder, or better yet, having some sort of an application for keeping track of all of your expenses. You're going to start having expenses like, like I said, mileage or gas, or maybe you had to buy a new computer, maybe you had to buy signage, or whatever the case may be. This is a way for you. Things like Quicken, QuickBooks, Hurdler is another one. They do all in one type of accounting, and that allows you to help keep track of all of your business expenses and income, so you can, know where you stand at the end of the year. How much money did I make? What was my, net income? So those are great things for you to be able to run your business with. What do you need to do to maintain your business? Well, this is also very important. Now we're talking about things like continuing education and board orientation. So, when you first get your license, you're required to attend the Board of Realtors orientation, and also to complete your MLS training. That is required. So make sure you've gotten that done if you've already, or if you recently joined. Also, you're responsible to keep your board and MLS fees up to date. So if you get any of your notifications from the board or the MLS that you have dues that you have to pay, those are up to you to keep track of. If we find out that they're late, you will hear from us, but please, it's better for you to just pay them as they become due. Make sure you're also keeping your real estate license up to date. If you've recently gotten licensed, your very first renewal period, you will have your 45-hour post licensing requirements. So those will have to be completed before your first renewal. But if you've already completed that and you've already gone through your first state renewal, after that, it's only 14-hour continuing education credits each year after. So 45-hour post licensing. If you've recently gotten licensed and you have not hit your first renewal, try to get it done sooner than later. It's easier when you first get licensed to go ahead and get that post licensing out of the way. The material is usually fresh in your mind. And not to mention that, you don't want to wait a year and a half to do this, because what if you're busy? What if you've got multiple customers and listings and all those great things? You don't want to have to all of a sudden drop everything to take a 45-hour class. So get it done early if you can, but those are the requirements. Also, make sure you notify us if there's, or notify the Division of Real Estate as well as us, if you have any changes to your name. Maybe you get married or you change your address, whatever the case may be. You have 10 days to notify the state of Florida of that change, and also make sure you notify us. And also let us know when you continue when you complete your continuing education requirements, or if you recently renewed your license, just so we have it in our files as well. Now we're talking more about being the business owner you're meant to be. So number one is have the confidence to be a business owner. Take the initiative. You are not only your own business, but you are your own marketer. You're your own promoter. You're going to be all these different hats, wearing them as the business owner. So number one is making sure that you practice being self-disciplined. If you're used to waking up 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the morning, then it might be a bad idea to wake up a little bit earlier. Get your prospecting done out of the way. Do the things you need to do, but it is up to you to be self-disciplined. We're not going to be calling you at 9 o'clock in the morning to ask you where you are. So it really is up to you to really drive yourself and keep yourself motivated and on track to complete your goals. Part of that is having a written business plan and reviewing it quarterly. I like to say, set goals that are achievable. Don't set easy goals, because it's not going to be an accomplishment if you set an easy goal, but make sure there are things that are still achievable. So, and it doesn't have to necessarily be, I want to have all these closings and I'll make all this money. It could be simple goals. Maybe this month I want to meet 15 new potential customers. And after you've gotten through that, maybe next month I want to meet 25 new potential customers, and you keep increasing it and meet your goals, and make sure you're reviewing it quarterly. Your written business plan can also include personal goals. Maybe your personal goal is to spend more time with your family, or take care of your personal home that you've been wanting to do things with too. So those can be your goals as well. Make sure you have a team of professionals. Wonderful thing about working with our company is we have wonderful relationships with lenders, title companies, insurance companies, inspectors. So if you're looking for some reputable people to work with, we have some wonderful recommendations that we can give to you. But having a great team of people that are going to help you. Remember, there's so many people involved in a transaction, so having a great team is important. Perception is everything in sales. Make sure that any marketing you do, any Facebook post, anything you put out there to the public representing yourself as a realtor is not only professional, but it's also on point. You're checking your spelling, you're making sure that things look correctly and the pictures aren't blurry. And, make sure that you're putting out something that you're proud of. If you're marketing yourself, it's all about perception. So if there's a brand new agent, but this agent's marketing is phenomenal and every one of his posts are amazing on Facebook and he's really engaging people, no one's going to know that that person's a new agent. So really treat it as your own business. Make sure that everything that goes out with your name on it is on point, professional, and it's something you're very proud of, because it really is going to reflect on who you are as a salesperson and a marketer. Track your business expenses, like we mentioned, things like gas. If you're taking a client out for lunch, maybe you're meeting some potential customers at Starbucks. Keep your receipt. On your receipt, make sure the date's on there. Write who you were with and what was discussed. So on January 30th, I met with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We discussed possibly listing their property for sale, and we were at Starbucks. That's really all you really need to have in there. And you could then use those as potential write-offs as well. Closed purchases, be careful with this, but if you're needing to purchase a new suit for a closing, those have some certain deductions. Just be careful that you're not going shopping and then writing off your entire bill on that. Computer purchases, laptops, things like that as well, printers, all of those have potential to have some deductions. And make sure you're also keeping track of your own personal information and passwords. As a realtor, you're going to have so many passwords, whether it's email accounts and websites and all these different things you're going to have passwords for. Make sure you're keeping track of them, you know where to access them, and you're not losing that or having your identity in jeopardy or anything like that. So make sure you're protecting your own passwords and login information. Like I mentioned, you want to have a team of professionals behind you, and this includes mortgage, title, attorneys. We're lucky enough to have a preferred lender who is Motto Mortgage, as well as a preferred title company of Equitable Title. These two companies work hand in hand with us and your customers to make sure that they ensure a smooth closing. It also allows you to have a little bit more control because these are people we know, we trust, we have direct contact with them. So it does make for a very smooth transition or transaction. We also have wonderful people like CPAs, immigration attorneys, real estate attorneys, inspectors, surveyors, appraisers, repair contractors. Anybody that you have that is going to be reputable, keep them on your team. You're going to be referring, business to these people. And these are, you want to have different companies that you can refer your buyers and sellers to if they need these companies. Be the business owner you're meant to be. So maybe you came to us with a prior history, or maybe you were in sales. This is a little bit different. So, but what we're selling here is homes. So if you're coming to us, maybe you were in car sales, or maybe you were in vacation sales, or however it is. The only difference here is our product is homes. So you have to know your product. You have to know what you're selling. Part of that is being familiar with the communities in your service area. So if my service area is Windermere, I want to make sure I know all of the various communities, whether they're resale or new home communities. I want to visit the builders. I want to take a ride one afternoon and go through some of these different communities and get a feel for the prices and how is the market in these communities. Are they going up? Are they going down? Are a lot of people moving to these various neighborhoods? So get to know your area. Take a drive, take a friend if you want to and just drive. Go check out new home communities, get information and know the different pricing that's available from them as well. Also, be on your toes when it comes to knowing your market, understanding your market. So again, if my market is Windermere, I should know what's going on in my particular service area. So if I'm in the Publix here in Windermere and somebody asks me, how's the real estate market here in town? I want to be able to tell them that yes, our market is doing great. The home prices are rising and we've got so much, buyers and whatever it is, but have a response, and not just a yes or no, things are good, things are bad. Have an actual response, engage people. This could lead to a great conversation, and maybe that particular person that's asking the question is actually looking for a property as well. So engage people, know your market, be an expert in your service area. Also, increase your knowledge by attending classes. So, our company provides really great daily classes like the one you're on right now, but we also have wonderful classes from the Century 21 University, which is our franchise. You also have the local board of realtors. You're paying your board dues and they provide great classes over there. So, take advantage of those. We also have a lot of vendor partners. There's builders, there's title companies. All of these people are doing wonderful classes to help you gain that knowledge and gain that experience. So take advantage of those, whether it's by us or by the Board of Realtors. Be a sponge, absorb as much information, take the classes, and really get to know your chosen career. And also know the latest technology. Many of the buyers out there are using some new apps. They're using various websites to look at property. In fact, many buyers that call us right now, they already know what property they want to look at. They've already been pre-qualified. They already know what prices are selling in that area. And all they really need you to do is just put an offer in for them. So find out what are the tools that maybe some of these younger generations are using to find us, and what do we need to do to learn about these various apps. You got to be on top of the different technology that's out there, both for realtors and for customers. Master your systems. This is where we're talking about the various systems that are going to be important to you in your real estate career as you get started. The MLS is going to be by far the most important system you will ever have to know in real estate. This is something that once you get really busy, you're likely going to have your MLS open throughout the day. I keep a window open on mine just about all day long. But this is where you can access all of the listings that we share as realtors. Get to know the MLS. There's 3 different classes they teach: the basic, the compliance, and the ad editing class. Take all 3. They also offer additional training, but make sure you're practicing and using MLS as much as possible so you get to know how to do really good searches on there to better serve your customers. 21 Online is where all of our Century 21 corporate tools are located. So whether I'm talking about Zap or I'm talking about Business Builder, all of those are located via your 21 Online system. I also do a monthly class on 21 Online as well. Dotloop is where we keep all of our transactional forms. So if we're talking about contracts, addenda, disclosures, it's also where we store all of our files, and it's where all of our electronic signing software is located. So all of you have Premier or Premium Dotloop accounts that allows you to go in and do all these things. We are a paperless office, which means that all of our files and forms are all kept on Dotloop. So you definitely want to make sure you understand Dotloop well before you have your first contract. You want to play with it, get to know it, look for the documents. So when you do have your first contract, you know how to use the system, and it'll be very easy for you to be able to prepare that offer. Your Zap website, this is your agent website that we offer you through Century 21. Like I mentioned, I also do a monthly class on this. So as you're getting set up, if you haven't already done so, attend my Zap website setup class, which I think is about a week out. And attend that, and I'll be showing you how to set up your agent website, which is also where your AdWorks retargeting marketing is taking from. So AdWorks is something we recently launched basically right at the end of December of 2020. It was a very exciting new service that we provide exclusively to our agents. It helps you not only with retargeting ads, but also some listing marketing as well that will really impress your sellers. So make sure you know all about those different systems. One of my personal pet peeves is making sure that your outgoing email has your contact information on it. If you are sending me an email and I don't know who you are and there's no email signature on your email, I don't have your contact information if I want to pick up the phone and call you. So make sure that, and let me show you what I'm talking about when I mention that. Hold on one second. Let me pull up my email real quick. I'm going to show you what I mean by this, guys. Okay, I'm going to share my screen because I want you to see what I'm talking about here. Okay. When you are sending an email, and all of you can do this for whatever email server you have, whether it's Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, it doesn't matter. Go into your settings and go into mail, and under outgoing email or email signature, make sure you're adding in a signature. I make sure that every single outgoing email and every single reply I do always has my information, including my name, my company, my email address. If you want to put your website on there, office information, whatever it is. If you want to put your Facebook, profile link on there, you can do that as well. It really makes you look more professional. Last thing you want to do is send an email out to a customer and you don't have any of this information. So if your customer wants to call you, they then have to start Googling your phone number. So it's always best. Make sure they always have your information. So that's one of my little personal pet peeves, but it really will help make you look professional. And it's something that I really think is important for you guys to set up. So let me go back to my slideshow. Oops, did I miss anything? Okay, make sure your outgoing email has your contact information. Also, know your competition. See what other realtors are doing in the industry. What are people doing on social media? What are realtors doing on, YouTube? What are ways that people are getting traction and getting new customers? Because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Do those same things. So if you see that somebody has a brilliant YouTube video out there and it's gone viral, there's no reason why you can't create something similar to that to try to get that same attention. So remember, it's all about marketing yourself, getting your name out there, and doing the best to have people want to call you. People, instead of you having to make the phone calls and get the business, we want to be able to attract that business, right? We want to put messages out there that want people, or that make people want to work with us. Also read your magazines. I talked about the technology and the apps and things like that that our buyers are using. All of these things that I'm talking about, like technology, are all in your two magazines that you get. So as a realtor, you get two magazines. One's from the Florida Association of Realtors. The second is from the National Association of Realtors. These are wonderful magazines, very, high gloss, high color. And it's all about our industry. We're sharing information. We're talking about what's going on. We're talking about, the latest technology that is out there. So read those magazines. I digest that information. They're good to have. Be punctual and always be professional when you're in the office or in front of potential customers. Answer your phone. Unless you're with a customer, answer your phone, even if it's not a number you recognize, because it could be a potential buyer or seller that maybe saw your website or saw your ad and wants to talk to you. So, it's okay to answer that call if you don't recognize the number, because again, it could be a potential buyer on the other end of the line. Unless you're with a customer, always be present with somebody. So if you are with customers and maybe you're at their house and you're talking to them about listing their property, always be present with the person you're with. Put the phone away, put it on mute, put it in your purse or in your pocket. Be a good listener and be present with the people that you're with. The last thing you want to do is make a bad impression by looking down at your phone and responding to a text message that isn't that important. Learn how to be a good listener. As realtors, we tend to be very outgoing people, and with that, we like to talk a lot. I'll admit I'm a talker. But we also have to remember to be good listeners. Ask open-ended questions, relate, and build a rapport with your customers. It's not just all about getting the sale; it's about developing a relationship where they're going to want to continue to work with you and hopefully refer even more business to you after. That's why it's okay to ask for business and ask for referrals. So it's okay to start telling your family, your friends, people that are there supporting you in your job and your life. Tell them, hey, I rely on business referrals. I'm starting a new business. I'm in real estate, and it's my goal to really be successful in real estate. But I need as much business as possible. So give your friends, your family, your loved ones, give them stacks of your business cards, encourage them, give out my card. If you know of anybody looking to buy or sell or rent, please make sure you're giving out my card and keep me in mind. I'm trying to grow my business and I'd appreciate the help. Always find a way to work in your real estate job or real estate market into your conversations. So if you're at maybe you were at a New Year's Eve party, or maybe you've got a birthday party coming up or a wedding, and I understand right now today's world's a little different, but try to find ways to work into conversations your real estate. It doesn't have to be obvious, like, hey, are you looking to buy or sell? It could simply be, oh, I attended a wonderful class today at Century 21. I'm so excited I took the leap to get into real estate. So it's a way to start a conversation. Remember, as long as somebody's over the age of 18, they're a potential buyer or seller or renter. So whenever you're talking to somebody, whether it's in Publix or at a restaurant, whatever it is, if somebody starts talking about real estate, engage them, have that conversation, ask them open questions. Tell me about your current living situation. Are you thinking about downsizing? If you are, tell me what you're looking for. Are there certain areas you're looking for? Do you have to be close to a family member or a job or a school, something like that? So always find a way to work in real estate to your conversations. Now we're going to talk a little bit about building your pipeline. And this is what we mentioned when we talk about prospecting. So prospecting is all about reaching out and building your database. And these are the people that you're going to try to prospect to every day, whether it's your friends, your neighbors, your family, social and community groups. Maybe you're a part of an HOA or a PTA, your doctors, dentists, babysitters, lawn crew, anybody that you've been giving business to. So if you've been, giving business to the same barber for 10 years, and you're loyal to him, it's okay to say, hey, listen, I've been coming to you for 10 years. I've enjoyed, working with you. I started my own business. Would you refer some business to me as well? So, especially if it's a friend, we like to help each other out and help each other start our own businesses. Social media, trying things like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. These are all great ways of getting out there, and getting your name and your branding out there. Having networking groups like Rotary Club, business colleagues from the past careers. If you had a successful career in the past, reach out to all those people you used to work with. Who's to say that they're not ready to make the jump and buy their first home? So make sure you're reaching out to all these people. Other realtors around the globe, whenever you're meeting other realtors, you might find people in other countries that have other realtors that have buyers wanting to move to Central Florida. So this is a great way for you to build that referral business from out of the country as well. You have vendor partners, you meet new ones, past buyers who now maybe need to sell. You could do some direct mail or print ads. There's even a way to do some web presence, whether it's self-generated or maybe you do some Google AdWorks or AdWords, or maybe do some Facebook, promote ads. These are other ways for you to gain additional web presence. Immerse yourself in the community, get involved with your community. So if you're maybe a part of your local HOA, or maybe you're a part of the local school system and you're a parent helper or something like that, immerse yourself in the community, do charity work. They do things that are going to really get you out there, get your name out there, and obviously give back to the community that we're serving. And make sure everybody knows that you're a realtor. Spread the word. No one's going to remember you're a realtor until that moment that they need one. So make sure that when somebody needs a realtor, you're the very first person, and the very first name that pops into their head. So who can you think of right now in your sphere of influence that may need to buy or sell a home? Maybe you recently spoke to, the person that does your lawn, or maybe your person that cleans your teeth, whoever it is. There might be somebody that you've spoken to recently that has an interest in buying or selling a home. So now's the time to reach out to those people and let them know that you're willing to help them and you'd be happy to help them with that. Creating a presence on the internet, we it's the today's world where everybody is online now, and people are looking online more and more, whether it's to find a realtor, to find a property. So you do need to make sure you have some online presence. In fact, have as much online presence as possible. Try various social media avenues, see what works for you. If you only like LinkedIn and Facebook, then just use LinkedIn and Facebook. But the more you try, maybe one works better than the other. So these are different things you can try. Customers will Google you. So what will they see or what won't they see? It's important to have some information about yourself. So after this meeting, I suggest Google your name, Katie Acosta Realtor, or whatever you want to Google. See what comes up about yourself. Is there nothing, or is there a bunch of, different directories and websites you're on? It's almost worse to not have anything about you, because if somebody's Googling me and maybe I met with a seller for the first time and I'm trying to convince that seller to list their home with me, after I meet with that seller, what happens if they go and Google me and there's nothing on the internet about me? What is the perception they're going to have? Well, they're either going to think I'm lying to them and I'm not really a realtor, or they're going to think that I'm new, I don't have any experience, I don't do any marketing, I'm not on the internet. These are all things that the buyer and seller will perceive. So make sure you've got stuff about you, whether it's a website, it's a LinkedIn account, it's all these different things, because I guarantee you, your customers will Google you. Get your Zap website set up, like I mentioned, and complete your Zap website. Add that content, add all those links. So once you take my Zap training, I encourage you to make sure that you've got your website set up completely with all that rich content that I teach in that class. Do you want to direct traffic to your Zap site? This is going to allow AdWorks to do its job, but by directing customers to your Zap agent website, that allows our AdWorks system to do their retargeting, helps get your name out there a lot more, and it adds additional benefit to your own marketing. You can do things like experiment with blogging and even more advanced SEO generating techniques. If you are a techie person and maybe you have some experience in a website and SEO, then feel free to play with it. Try to drive as much traffic as you can. Any online directories you can join, whether it's Zillow or any online directories. Try not to spend any money on these, because they're really not necessary to spend money on. If you do, make sure it's minimal, but try to join online directories. Zillow, Realtor.com, many of them offer free accounts that you can join just to be a part of their directory. Also, creating a YouTube channel. Google owns YouTube, so whenever somebody is Googling, videos tend to have really great results on Google. So obviously having a video is important. So if you start your own YouTube channel, you can experiment with posting videos, maybe a video outside of a new construction property, a video of you doing a testimonial, whatever it is. Those can be very valuable to you. So we do suggest incorporating video into your marketing and experimenting with it a little bit. You also want to gather online reviews every time you complete a sale. So we have a great system called Real Satisfied, where you can send out, or I'm sorry, the system will actually send out a survey every time you have a closing. These are really great because now you have online testimonials from happy customers that have used you, whether it's to buy or sell a house. And that's an additional credibility to you. It gives you additional clout that, hey, I have other customers that say wonderful things about me. Katie was a great agent to work with. She was professional, blah, blah, blah. These are really important because we could put these on our website. We can share these. We could put them on social media. It gives us, again, more credibility and the perception that we are a great agent. Creating a professional page off of your personal Facebook page. This is what many of you are doing, which is great. Having a professional Facebook page. It doesn't just have to be company listings though. So of course, you're going to want to put listings and open houses, but don't forget that you don't just want to be a real estate expert. You want to be a neighborhood or community expert, right? You want to be the resource where if a buyer wants to know about the schools that are coming up and what's going on with this shopping plaza, and tell me about what's going on in the market and things like that. You want to be known as a community or neighborhood expert. So don't just talk about real estate, talk about maybe a new restaurant that's coming up down the road, or maybe a new school that's about to be completed that's going to be open for next year or whatever it is. So those are wonderful things to include, not just real estate, funny anecdotes, cute little, cartoons, whatever it is, but keep it professional, and keep it, I personally like to keep my personal life separate from my customers. However, it's up to you, but if you are like me, do that professional page, and then you can kind of keep the two separate. Try other mediums. So if you've tried Facebook and maybe you want to try something else, don't forget there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's LinkedIn. These are all great other platforms that you can try as well. And don't forget that your personal information, such as email, cell phone numbers, are going to be visible on these sites. And you want them to be, right? Because you want your customers to be able to find you. So make sure that you're comfortable having your phone number and email address or website on these various social media sites, because you want people to be able to reach you if they, want to call you for your services. Also, keep it professional and neutral. And perception is everything in sales. So once again, any posts you do, any, flyers that you put out, if it's got your name on it and it's something that's representing you, make sure it is A+. Make sure it is pristine and it's spelled correctly. You don't have, horrible errors, and the phone number's not right and everything's just a mess. Make sure you're really putting out something professional that you can be proud of. Make sure you're wearing your name badge every day. Put this on if you're going out to go show property, if you're going out to pick up the keys for your clients, whatever it is, wear your name badge. Wear it in Publix, wear it to Target. You never know when you're going to be able to start a conversation with somebody, and people recognize our Century 21 logo. So when they see that you have a name badge on, they'll start talking to you. We all have real estate in common. Everybody needs to eat, everybody needs to breathe, and we all need to live somewhere. So it's a great conversation starter, and it's a great way for you to be able to meet new people with that name badge. I like to tell everybody, don't rely on your business card when you meet people. Try to always get a email address from whoever you meet. The reason why is, think about it yourself. Whenever you meet somebody, and maybe you meet a new insurance salesman that you happen to meet in Publix, and he gives you his business card, do we always call those people back, or does sometimes that business card end up in the trash? Well, it does, unfortunately. So what I like to say is, when you meet people, get their email address, because now you have it and you can reach out to them, and as long as they're willing to give it to you, and now you're able to reach out to them. So don't count on, just because you give out your business card, that you're going to get that return phone call or email. Once you have that email address, you can put somebody on a business builder newsletter, or perhaps send them listings if you were talking about properties. But this is your way of being able to reach out to that customer. Open houses are wonderful. So conduct as many open houses as you can. Uh, right now, it is a little more difficult, because obviously our inventory is a little low right now. So we don't have a lot of properties on the market. But if you have the ability to do an open house for a listing agent, do these. They're wonderful. They can help build your database and give you some buyers to talk to. Also, network with other realtors both inside and outside of our company for potential referral opportunities. So if you're talking to maybe an agent in the Miami area, and that Miami agent is often referring business to the Orlando area, why not try to be that agent's go-to Orlando agent? So make sure you're networking with not just people inside of our company, but also outside of our company for potential referral opportunities. Tips to meeting prospects. First of all, don't be shy. You've got to overcome your fear of rejection. You're going to be rejected quite a lot in sales. You're going to have people tell you no, or I'm sorry, we just can't work with you anymore. Overcome that, overcome it, move on. Don't look back, go on to your next opportunity. Okay. The more you fester on it, and you're just going to be kind of stuck in a rut, and you're going to get yourself down. Overcome it, move on. There's another opportunity around the corner. But don't be shy. Give a firm and confident handshake, but maybe not right now. I know what's going on, so maybe we can't do that right now, but definitely make eye contact. If you're meeting somebody in person at Starbucks, make sure you're making eye contact. Be calm and in the moment. Again, be an active listener. Put the buzzing phone away. Unless it's an emergency, it does not need to be tended to right now. Be with the people you're with, because they're going to remember that moment. They're going to remember meeting you, and you want people to walk away with a good impression, right? So the good impression I want people to have from me is, wow, she was an active listener. She took the time to talk to me. She didn't look at her phone. She was actively engaged in our conversation. That's what I want my customers to know about me. A nice little trick is if you are have problems remembering people's names, like I sometimes do, repeat people's names when you first talk to them. So if I'm meeting, somebody named Jim for the first time, I might repeat Jim's name a few times throughout our conversation because for me, it helps me now remember his name over and over again. So try to remember people's names. I know that can be tricky, but hey, whatever memory trick you have that helps you is great. Also, build rapport with people before you try to sell them. Before you meet with those buyers and immediately jump into what are you looking for, take a step back, breathe, ask them, why are you moving to Orlando? What brings you to our city? Tell me what your dreams are for living here. What are you looking for in a community? Are you looking to be near your family? Get to know your customers, build a rapport, because if they don't like working with you, then they're not going to work with you. So make sure you're almost selling yourself before you're working with them on a transaction. So build rapport, build their trust. That's really important. Also, make sure you have your business card and something to write their name down. I also like to write down important details. So if you're meeting with somebody, it's nice, especially now we have our phones, you can write in their email address, their phone number, maybe write a few little notes about maybe what they're looking for. So when you talk to them again, you can refresh your memory. Oh, yeah, look, there's my notes. It says all about what they're looking for. So I have a better idea when I call them back. Make a memorable first impression. What will your customers remember about you when they walk away? Did they remember that you were cool, calm, and collected and an absolute professional? Or are they going to remember that you were running late, you were flustered, you just seemed like you were really stressed and looking at your phone all the time? What is the first impression that you're leaving behind with people that you meet? Follow up each new introduction with an email or handwritten thank you. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, even if it's a text message. But the idea is, especially with customers, if someone takes the time to meet with you and to spend an hour with you and to open their lives to you, send them a thank you. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, for meeting me today at Starbucks. I really enjoyed hearing about why you're moving to Central Florida. I really look forward to working with you. I'll be sending those listings over to you this evening when I get back home. So having some sort of a thank you, we don't do it enough, in my opinion, in today's world. So it's a nice gesture. Not many agents do this. So follow up your introductions, follow up your conversations with a thank you. Learn from your mistakes. If you're on the phone with somebody and maybe you have your spouse that overheard the conversation, or a child or whoever it is, ask them, how did I do? Did I sound like I stumbled over my words? Did I sound confident? It's okay to ask for criticism, constructive criticism. Even doing role playing. A lot of agents like to do role playing. So if it helps having scripts, or to do some role playing with maybe your spouse or partner, or neighbor, whoever it is, practice some role playing. Are you confident in the rapport you're building with people? Are you able to have a conversation and sound sure of yourself? So these are things you will practice. The sales is an art, just like any other career. So learning the skills to be able to really talk to people and build that rapport and build loyal customers for life is definitely, and there's an art to it. So you have to learn and practice it. So we're pretty much done here. Let me check my time. I'm really good on time. So I want to do a little bit of a summary. Obviously, building your pipeline is super important, especially right now because you're building your business for the future. So make sure you're putting aside about 1 to 2 hours each day to prospect. Now, prospect can be anything from posting on social media to reaching out to your sphere of influence to calling some of those people you met at your open house. Maybe it's doing a mail out to your neighborhood. Whatever it is, it's something that's building your business for the future. Have a plan both financially and for marketing, and make sure you review it periodically. Make adjustments to it. Set the bar a little higher if it's too easy to accomplish. So you are your own boss. You've got to hold yourself accountable. So you're your own boss and employee. So sometimes you got to give yourself a review and say, okay, what do I have to do differently to get back on track? Spread the word by talking about real estate and make sure everyone knows you're a realtor. Your next buyer is out there. You've just got to find them. So you have to be proactive in real estate. You've got to go out there and get the business. So go out there and find who is looking to buy or sell. You've got to find those people. They're all out there, especially if you know a lot of people here in Central Florida. That's your database. You can reach out to your database and find who that next buyer is going to be. Think outside the box and outside of your comfort zone. So if you are maybe a little bit shy or introverted when it comes to meeting people, now's the time to step outside your comfort zone. Back before COVID, I used to challenge agents and I would say, you know what? The best thing you can do for yourself is you walk into a party or you walk into a networking function with 100 people. You know nobody. You didn't bring your spouse. You brought no friend with you. You were by yourself and you know nobody in that room. Challenge yourself. I'm going to go meet 20 people. I'm going to get 20 business cards and have conversations with 20 people at this networking event because I need to get myself outside of that comfort zone. So challenge yourself, push yourself a little further than you normally would, and you'll be surprised at what the return's going to be. See what others are doing. Like I mentioned, you don't have to reinvent the wheels. See what other types of marketing realtors are doing or other industries. If you see that the insurance company on the corner is doing a really great ad, nothing says you can't do something similar to that in real estate. Be realistic in your goals and what you want to accomplish. Set your goals high enough where they're not easy, but make sure you put them in writing and be realistic in your goals. Don't bite off more than you can chew. There's nothing wrong with trying something and then failing and then trying something else. So many times I decided to try this website or try this certain thing, and it was horrible, and I realized, what, that was a waste of money. I'm going to put my money elsewhere. I don't know how many bus benches I bought over the years that brought me zero return, but cost me thousands of dollars. So, hey, lessons learned. I stopped doing that and started doing something else. So, again, you're your own marketer, you're your own company. So, you're going to be trying things. But when you find something that works, stick with it and be consistent and continue to do that. So, if mail outs works for you, or if social media is your ticket to get those customers, don't just try once, get successful, and give up. No, this could be your bread and butter. So make sure you're continuing and being consistent on those things that do work for you. And remember, what works for you does not work for somebody else. So maybe you're not the social media guru that you want to be, but maybe you're really great at doing mail outs and doing cold calling and reaching out to FISBOs. Whatever works for you and your personality and what you're comfortable with, do that and stick with it. Be a chameleon. Our market changes drastically and so often. Even this year we're dealing with COVID, so there's always changes every single year in our business. Make sure you're changing with the market. Be a chameleon. Learn about what the changes are, how you can change your marketing to help, or to change with the changing times. So and last but not least, have fun with it. This is a wonderful career. It's a great industry. There's a reason why all of you got into this business. Remember what those reasons were. It is rewarding and prosperous, and it's so wonderfully fun. You meet the best agents, the best customers. These are people that you're in relationships you'll have for your whole lives. Many of you are coming from careers that aren't really profitable right now, or maybe are furloughed or stalled right now. So luckily, real estate's doing great. We're thriving here. So we're happy to have you on board. And I wish you all the best of luck in your success. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to stop real quick to see if we have any questions. I don't think I do, but I just want to thank you all for joining me. Keep on the lookout for my ZAP class coming up, as well as my 21 online class coming up. You can take those with me and then ask any questions. But we're happy to have you on board, and just get your foundational stuff taken care of. Remember, you are a business owner and you're going to do great. So thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.